Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to all the people tuned in to watch World this morning on Pakistan TV. I happen to be Eesha, Rehan, and with me I have been joined by the one and only Muzzammil Ali Khan. And today we have joined you in a very welcoming Tuesday morning. The sun is bright and shining upon Islamabad and the rest of Pakistan. We do hope for some rain. However, I am kind of scared that it will lead to a lot of cold, but we are ready to eat a lot and drink a lot of hot chocolate as well. But first things first, how are you feeling, Muzzammil?
I am doing good, alhamdulillah. It's a great day. But for Pakistan, security concerns are at their peak, because as soon as you start to make progress towards what's good for you and your people, the enemy decides to put difficulties in your way. And one of them is terrorism that is being funded by enemy states of Pakistan and shortly enemy states of peace in the region. Now, Pakistanis have been actively telling Afghan government and people to not support terrorism, not allow terrorism to take roots inside of Afghanistan. Another terrorist attack on FC headquarters in Peshawar has taken place. And in this attack, 3 suicide bombers lost their lives, security personnel lost their life, and there were some civilians who were also injured. This comes a short few days after a suicide bomb attack took place in the G11 courts in Islamabad.
All right, thank you for highlighting that, Muzzammil. But it was the bravery of our armed forces and who were able to disarm them and who were able to kill all 3 terrorists and neutralize the threat. However, we did lose 3 martyrs who bravely gave out their lives to protect the people of Pakistan. And speaking about protection of people's lives and holding the value of human lives, it's very saddening and it's very grieving that around 1 in 3 women face violence across the globe. So that means that 3 women sitting right here, one of them could be facing violence. This year, the International Day for Elimination of Violence Against Women is focusing specifically on digital violence, which has become the fastest growing global threat. Online abuse affects women in politics, journalism and activism. It can lead to self-harm and harassment and coercion, and in extreme cases, it can also lead to femicide, which is very, very devastating, and we need to come together to work against the violence against women.
Right. And with that, we would be then jumping into some sports news, that is cricket. And as we all know, that cricket series that are going on. Now, Sri Lanka to face Zimbabwe today. Sri Lanka will face Zimbabwe today in the 5th match of the Tri-Nations series in Rawalpindi. PTV Sports HD will telecast the match live from 6 p.m. Both Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe cricket teams held a training session at Rawalpindi Cricket Stadium. And Information Minister Natalia also mentioned an important point. Even right now in the morning, while coming towards my office, I was facing a lot of traffic. But in the light of what the Information Minister said, it is important for Pakistan to hold these events to tell the world that everything here is working properly and to promote the soft image of Pakistan, that we are a progressive nation. So we need to look at these traffic jams in a positive light. Now with that, we'll be right back and we'll be jumping into a deeper discussion into the security matters concerning Pakistan with Admiral retired Faisal Shah. He's our defense analyst. Be right back.
Alright, welcome back to all the lovely people who stay tuned to watch World this morning on Pakistan TV. And in this segment, we are going to be highlighting the devastating impact of terrorism in Pakistan. But Pakistan has shown unwavering and unmatched bravery and commitment to foil terrorist attacks. All 3 terrorists were neutralized by the FC forces, making sure that the citizens were safe. We did lose 3 martyrs. We will be discussing into the segment in detail with our guest, who happens to be Rear Admiral Faisal Shah, who is a defense analyst. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you please break down the situation for us? What exactly happened? This was the 2nd attempt at this specific point, and how were our security forces able to showcase their unmatched bravery to disarm these terrorists?
Yes, it's an unfortunate incident, yet another, in a very short span of time, but hats off to our security forces who could actually eliminate all the 3 terrorists who were trying to enter the premises. And you see that the time chosen by them was very significant, because it was a parade time and 450 troops were actually in the parade ground. So even though the troops in the parade are carrying the weapons are not armed. So had these terrorists succeeded in entering, it would have been a great massacre that they could have carried out. So hats off to the security forces who were on time, who were prompt, and who eliminated all these three. Second thing is hats off to the resilience of Pakistani nation that after having gone through so much in terrorism, we are still carrying on with our lives, and all international events are also happening in Pakistan. So that's a positive trajectory that we must appreciate. Yes, there are issues and problems that we face because of these security concerns, but rightly said by Information Minister that we must take them as positive because it's our contribution to the war on terror. Now, the issue is that I'm really surprised that it was a very crowded area, very busy area where these premises are located. It's a southern area of Peshawar, and at the time they came on foot to these premises. Uh, People were all around, and I just don't understand that why are we not contributing to the war on terror that Pakistani security agencies and government are fighting. So absolutely, they hid themselves somewhere. They made some house their hideout. There are also reports that they slept in one of the bus terminals. So why couldn't anybody find them out? And how could they travel on foot and come to the premises and carry out their nefarious designs? So here is basically the lack of contribution of a common man. And we must understand that this is for our own sake, this is for our own security. So our overall counterterrorism strategy, where it is fighting on different fronts, I think one thing lacking is taking people on board. I really don't find any effort on part of government or any other organization to take people on board in this war. You see, one of the very famous German strategists, Karl von Clausewitz, uh, he he said, and that became a universal formula that for to win every war, the government, the people, and the armed forces, they have to be together. They have to work hand in glove. And this is a war that we are confronting for last many decades. So I don't really find people's contribution in this. If I don't know who is residing in my neighborhood and if this person belongs to this area or not, I mean, it is naive on my part. So I believe that efforts should be directed towards this aspect, which is lacking in our overall counterterrorism strategy. We must fight together, just as we fought against India in May 2025. That was a visible enemy, but there is an invisible enemy in Pakistan we have to fight against.
All right, you've raised a
Right,
very,
right.
very good point
Now,
regarding
I
how
have a
unity
question. I'm sorry I'm
needs
breaking
to
you up
be
like this,
found.
but I
Okay,
have a
go ahead,
question
go
here.
ahead.
Sir, recently some efforts have been put into place, like they're materializing right now. All the cars that are moving, starting with the capital of Pakistan, Islamabad, they are supposed to be registered in someone's name who's residing here in Islamabad, and also M tags and E tags are being placed on all the vehicles, and this is a big push that is being made towards this. Next step is to gain the information of and jot it down and compartmentalize this information of who lives in which house and all of the residents present within the premises of that house. The number should be registered, the details should be with the government. So the push is being made towards this more secure, more jotted down environment. But we want your insight, since we're a little short on time over here, your insight into the fact that every time a place has been hit by these terrorists in a cowardly manner, it is either a school or a center of business or they are courts. What message is the enemy giving?
Enemy wants to make headlines. They want to create. They want to massacre as as many people as possible. So you see, it is Wana Cadet College. Is it outside the judicial complex in G11, or is it this police training or FC premises? They were looking for more and more people to be killed by them so that they could make the headlines and they could actually blame and defame the government of Pakistan and the security agencies and all organizations. That is their aim. This they have changed their strategy, because previously they were only targeting security forces on the post, on the checkpost, but now they are going for big crowds. Now, the thing that you have talked about, that we are now registering the vehicles, we are registering the people living in houses. Uh, may I ask why? How many years have passed that we are into such a situation, and now in 2025 we are thinking of these things? We are reactive. We have to be proactive. We have to be proactive, and these things should have been done much earlier. This is my point. So if even if it's a late start, we must complete all these formalities, not only in Islamabad, but all over Pakistan, because all over Pakistan there is a threat. You see, Rajnath Singh yesterday has started another narrative that Sindh belongs to India. Now they want to actually uh, heat up the temperature in Sindh after Balochistan and KP. So we need to be proactive in nature. We do not have to give them space that they want in our country, anywhere in our country.
Definitely, you've raised a very integral point that we need to come together and unify as a nation on the grassroots level. And speaking about this, let's talk more about the attack that happened yesterday. The reports that came to us revealed that the terrorists were actually using a chadar disguise. They were using assault rifles as well as grenades to disguise themselves, and they also tried to use a hostage-like situation. What does this say about the type of training they are using and the type of facilities that they are being trained with?
You're right that absolutely they are receiving training, they are receiving high quality arms and ammunition, and we all know that what was left behind in Afghanistan, uh, they grabbed it and they are now using it. But where are they getting the training? Why are they getting this ammunition? How this ammunition is being transported inside Pakistan? How they are actually trespassing inside Pakistan? These all things are to be looked into. And I assure you that without your and my support to the government agencies, to the law enforcement agencies and security forces, this will not be possible to stop them. So we really need to play our part. We need to contribute to this war on terror. Blaming Afghanistan, blaming India is another thing. Yes, we have concrete evidence against them, but that's not going to stop this war on terror. We have to do our job, and we do not have to provide them that space that they are actually manipulating.
Right. Now, that was summed up in a very concise manner. Thank you for taking your time out for Pakistan TV here, sir. It was great having you and with your insights into this matter. The whole nation needs to cooperate. Hundreds of millions of Pakistanis living inside of Pakistan and outside of Pakistan. We all need to cooperate if we need to save Pakistan and if we want this place to be a safer place for our children. And with that now, talking about Pakistan making its strides forward into a brighter future and the attention it is now getting from key regional players. Chief of General Staff of the Armed Forces of Saudi Arabia, General Fayyad bin Hamid Al-Rawali, called on Prime Minister Mohammad Shehbaz Sharif at the Prime Minister's house in Islamabad. And while this convening was warm, while conveying his warm wishes to the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Prime Minister, reaffirmed Pakistan's commitment to strengthening historical fraternal ties with Saudi Arabia across defense, security and economic sectors. Both leaders also highlighted their shared commitment to combat terrorism and extremism.
Oh my God, that is absolutely brilliant. And not just this, the Chief of General Staff of the Saudi Arabia Armed Forces called on Field Marshal Syed Munir, Chief of Army Staff, at the General Headquarters. During the meeting, both leaders discussed matters of mutual interest, focusing on strengthening the long-standing strategic military cooperation between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. They emphasized on the importance of further enhancing defense collaboration and security cooperation, as well as counterterrorism forces. And I mean, obviously, we are heading towards an era where Pakistan is going to be thriving on the world stage. We need to make sure that the eyes of the enemy are not eyeing upon us, and we counter terrorism strongly.
Well, now, between President Xi Jinping and President Donald Trump, things are warming up. We are seeing some cordial comments from both the sides, between President Trump and President Xi Jinping, the Chinese premier. China's President Xi Jinping held a telephone call with President Donald Trump.
And not just that, what happened is that the U.S.-China ties have generally remained stable and improved since the meeting in Busan. He said that China and the United States should maintain the momentum in ties and adhere to the right of direction, and both countries should lighten the list of cooperation and shorten the list of disagreements for more positive progress.
And talking about China and America, how can we not talk about Iran, one of the main players and always in the highlight from this region, and also from the highlights when we talk about highlights coming in from the world. And that is Dr. Ali Larijani, Secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council, has arrived in Islamabad. And he is going to hold talks with senior Pakistani officials on bilateral relations and regional developments. This was your news update of what's happening in the region and in the world. Now, up next, we would be discussing something that is very important and very close to our hearts. My mother served specifically in this area of expertise, working in rural Punjab 23 years in a row, just to support mother and child healthcare. So this is something which is close to my heart, and we would be getting to it with an expert in the field, because today is the day to celebrate the fact that we all will stand up against violence that is committed against women. And we will be right back with this discussion. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere. This is Muzzammil Khan and Eesha Rehan in your favorite morning show, World This Morning. Be right back.
All right, welcome back to all the lovely people who stay tuned to watch World This Morning on Pakistan TV. I still happen to be Eesha Rehan, and with me I have Muzzammil Khan. And in this segment, we are diving into something that deserves a lot of attention from the global perspective, and that is violence against women. Unfortunately, 1 in 3 women across the globe face violence, which is a massive human rights violation. This year, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women is focusing specifically on digital violence. What happens is that it leads to the growth of harassment, coercion, and femicide. To discuss this in more detail, we actually have an expert who will be joining us for this conversation today. She happens to be Advocate Sidra Mahmood, who is the Director of Voice of Rights. Thank you so much for joining us today.
To you.
Sidra, thank you so much for joining us today. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. How are you, Eesha? And how are you, Muzzammil?
Doing good, absolutely great. And this topic that is here today, it's about women and their rights. Now, I want to start off with something that I have seen growing up throughout my childhood. When we talk about rural areas, we'll get to Islamabad and Karachi and the developed world and developed cities later on, but I want to address the main places where, you know, there is no accountability. It doesn't, if it's about femicide, if it's about violence against women, it does not make the highlights, and it's widely accepted as something which is backed by cultural norms that have been put into place over the years and decades. My mother served in rural Punjab, creating a health system for mother and the child healthcare department and whatnot, establishing protocols basically for the basic necessities. You're talking about women health and a lot of other things. Why are we not still able to curb violence against women. Let's club together what we saw in the recent past, like cases of Zahir and cases of stabbings against women and, you know, acid crimes. A lot of these things, they're coming from Lahore, Islamabad, all of these cities, these metropolitan cities. And then it's about the madrasas and it's about the colleges and schools in which crimes are being committed against women. Why is it so hard to curb these crimes, and why is it so hard to protect women?
Muzzammil, you know, when any such crime that occurs or when any such incidents that occurs, the first thing is that people try to hide it. People, they do not want to report it. If you are not reporting any case, I mean, what sort of justice or what sort of justice mechanism you expect from your justice authorities? So if something happens, what we do, we try to put it under the carpet. And this is a social, again, I mean, we are living in a society where people are being very judgmental, where people are being very, you know, they try to blame you. Okay, if something happened, so it must be the mistake of a woman. If a husband is, you know, beating her, it must be because she is talking back, or maybe she is not of a good character. So women, they are always, you know, subjected and they are always blamed. And once the such incidences happen, we don't report them. So if something is not being reported, then how can there be any action against that?
Thank you so much for highlighting that, Sidra. And now let's focus on the global issue, which is digital violence. According to UN reports, 40% of women do witness personal violence in their lifetime, but now 85% of women are now facing digital violence. These are massive numbers. That means 1 in 3 women are facing this violence. How awful is it? And do you think it allows the perpetrators of violence to hide behind a shield of social media so they can carry out their aggression more easily?
Eesha, they are being very generous who made these reports, but let me tell you one thing, let me guarantee you one thing, that there isn't even a single woman who did not face any digital violence. I mean, either it's me, either it's anyone, anyone from my society, from my surroundings. So we all face digital violence. It's not just 1 in the 3. You know, things are, they are very accessible. And the again, I would go for the mechanism of reporting and mechanism of implementation of the punishments. What I would do when I feel such sort of violence, for me, the easy option is just to block that person. Instead of going into the nitty gritties and instead of going into the whole procedure and instead of going into the whole inquiry, why? Because I know that at some point, this is going to be a headache for me. And at some point, obviously, I'm going to back off from that because procedure is very lengthy, procedure is very lethal. And these complaints, they are, you know, not addressed on your priority basis. Why? Because people think, okay, things are going on, things are happening. It's a, you know, normal routine for people. So and not, it's not just 1 out of 3, it's almost every woman.
Right.
All right, Sidra, thank you so much for highlighting that. And now, since you're an advocate, can you please tell us the rules and procedures that are followed in Pakistan? Let's just say I face physical violence, digital violence, or Muzzammil faces digital violence. Being a citizen of Pakistan, what steps can we take to protect ourselves?
You know, we have big agencies for that. We have NCCI, we have FIA, we have lots of agencies working against the digital. We have cyber laws, we have PICA laws, we have so many laws which are against this digital violence. The thing is that the procedures are lengthy. You know, you register your complaint once with the FIA, so they get you the date of, let's say, if you have registered your complaint in October, you might get the date in December. So by then you changed your mind and you're more like, okay, just block this person or just get rid of this issue instead of, you know, keeping yourself into that hassle. So the easy option is to just to bring yourself out of that situation by getting rid of that person. We don't make people a precedent. We don't make people an example of their acts and what they are doing. So we don't go to the court of the laws.
All right, and Sidra, now let's focus on, you highlighted how maybe people like us can block people easily and then move on from our lives. But the women who are actively participating in activism, journalism, politics have to face these incidents of violence against themselves every other day. And especially when we live in the day and age of AI generated videos and images and deep fake videos and images, how do you think the women can survive this massive attack against them?
You know, Isha, for that we have defamation laws and we have a whole procedure and whole mechanism where if somebody is defaming you, you can simply go into the court of law because it's a crime. It's not a civil act, it's a crime, criminal act. You are bringing bad name to a person, you are doing, a very heinous sort of a thing where you are making fake videos, you are associating rumors with the name of a person. So here they can simply go for the defamatory procedures and they can simply go for the defamation laws and they can take them to the court and they can file the cases against them.
Right, right. And one last question before I let you go here. Now, that is, when we talk about a society that is polarized, there is misogyny on one end and misandry on one end. How important do you think it is to talk about both of these things? Because over the past decade, all I've heard is discussions on misogyny. Misandry is a word that nobody I've come across is even aware of.
We need to bring some activities, we need to bring some trainings where we are training both males and the females about their rights and more than that about their obligations. What their obligations are as a son, what their obligations are as a husband, what their obligations are as a father. In Muslim societies, men, they are providers and they are protectors. They are protecting their women, no matter if they are their wives, their sisters, their daughters, their mothers, or even, we live in a society. I cannot say that our society on whole is bad. We live in a society where if something happens to my car and I park my car on the roadside, so people they stop and they ask me gently, okay, ma'am, do you need any help? So this is also one face of a man. We cannot deny that. And in these situations, what we need to do is that we need to bring in some trainings. We need to tell them about their duties and specifically, being a male, you guys go and attend the khutbat of Jummah. So the Maulvis which are sitting there and which are giving their sermons of Jummah, they should highlight these facts because the preachers of Islam, they are more heard and people like to obey what they are saying. So these things should be highlighted in those sermons.
Sidra, this is just a yes or no question because we're really short on time and this is a discussion that I want more of right now. But unfortunately, we're a little short on time. Do you think that there should be a new subject that should be introduced and a 9th class to the already 8 lessons that we have in our schools running these days? There should be a 9th lesson that should also be introduced and that should be about civics and how to behave in the society, teaching both girls and boys at a very young and early age how to function properly and if they're facing abuse at any level to go and report it. Do you think it should be made?
Mandatory. It should be. We grow up with learning the ethics from our parents, but once it is made a part of your syllabi and it is made mandatory and you have to give exams and you have to, learn it, you have to memorize it and you have to, not just in the syllabi, but it should be in more practical form. It should be in the form where you have to act in certain way. So yes, it's a big yes.
The awareness needs to be spread out for women and men as well so they do not portray violence. But thank you so much for Sidra for taking our time and being here and talking about this pertinent issue that is impacting the lives of many Pakistani women and all the women across the globe. But followed by this, we do have some lovely news to share with our viewers. Why don't we go ahead, Muzzammil?
It's about biodiversity, it's about biosecurity and it's about Mother Nature. We are talking about rare and endangered Indo-Pacific finless porpoise was found dead on the coast of Ormara. Now, why do we need to protect the society? Why do we need to protect the biodiversity? And why do we need to protect nature? It's because it's animals and living beings like such that give us the markers of how secure this world is and how secure our environment is for the larger collective sentient beings that they pass away or they go extinct. Now, Balochistan is the location for this sad happening. This is one of the endangered Indo-Pacific finless porpoise, raising concern among environmentalists and marine biologists. for the security of the waters that it lives in. This was in Balochistan, the rare Indo-Pacific finless porpoise that was found dead.
All right, and not just this, speaking about biodiversity and how we need to focus on how nature is evolving and brewing, and how we need to get accustomed to maybe admitting that climate change is an important issue that is impacting many lives. It is that a volcano in Ethiopia's northeastern region erupted for the first time in nearly 12,000 years, sending thick plumes of smoke up to 14 kilometers up into the sky. The Haile Gubi volcano, located in Ethiopia's far region about 800 kilometers off the northeast of Addis Ababa, near the eastern border, erupted for several hours. The volcano, which rises up to 500 meters in an altitude, sits up at the Rift Valley. Ash clouds from the volcano drifted over Yemen, Oman, India, and the northern side of Pakistan. This definitely shows how massive the scale of the eruption was, and how massive the fumes and ashes were that they reached all the way here to Pakistan as well.
The word on the social media was that these volcanic ashes have reached Pakistan as well, flying over the globe. Now, all of you suffering from asthma or respiratory problems and diseases need to keep yourselves secure, because breathing is important, and volcanic ashes can cause allergies because there's a high quantity of sulfur in those ashes. Now, up next, talking about ashes, cricket comes to one's mind. We are going to go towards cricket, and we'll be discussing with our sports analyst and anchor here at Pakistan TV, but after a really short break. Stay tuned, don't go anywhere, because cricket is the heartthrob game of Pakistan, and we'll be right back after this short break. Stay tuned. All right, so welcome back, and favorite segment over here. We're talking about sports, but loaded with questions. It's Muzzammil Ali Khan and Eesha Rehan. Who goes first? We're going to decide it on a really short game of rock, paper, scissors.
All right.
Eesha, quick. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Oh.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I get to
Muzzammil.
ask the question. So we're talking about cricket with Natalia Baqer today. Assalamu alaikum, Natalia. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm absolutely well. How are you?
I am also doing great. Now, you have been taking keen interest into cricket, and before you started your work here as the sports anchor, you also have some background in athletics when we talk about your university, right?
Yes.
All right. So, about cricket, what is exciting when we talk about the recent match that is going to take place today? What excites you about today's match?
I think the teams itself, so Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe, that is the Tri-Nation match which we are going to witness today, and that will be a thrilling one, because Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe are trying, and they shall be trying for, you know, having those early scores and early improvement in the Tri-Nation, because again they're playing with Pakistan in this Tri-Nation. Zimbabwe, Sri Lanka and Pakistan, three of the teams are playing in Pakistan, and the matches are happening in Pakistan, Rawalpindi Stadium. And so both of the teams might try to, you know, make some improvements so that they could win the next matches against
Definitely.
Pakistan.
And Natalia, please highlight for us, why is it important that Sri Lanka wins this match and the next match? Sri Lanka is in a must-win-win situation to enter the finals right now. What led up to this?
That is because Sri Lanka has been playing a series before starting Tri-Nation with Pakistan in Pakistan, and Sri Lanka lost that series. So it is important for Sri Lankan team to, you know, make improvements and to win some of the matches from, at least some of the matches from Tri-Nation, because since Tri-Nation has started, Sri Lanka has not won any game against Pakistan. Zimbabwe has not also you know, won any game against Pakistan. So both of the teams are lacking that win. So it's crucial for both of the teams to, you know, actually win any of the match against Pakistan, and also that this match, which is going to happen today, Zimbabwe versus Sri Lanka today in this Rawalpindi Stadium, this is actually an important one as well.
Right.
All right.
And about this match, give us a little bit insight onto the stadium, the conditions that these teams would be participating in, because of course it's Rawalpindi, right?
Yes.
So both of these teams, the problems that they could face here and what could make this match a little more difficult?
I think that in the start, when the Tri-Nation actually started, both of the teams were having difficulties in adapting to the pitch conditions and to the weather conditions of Pakistan as well. But Sri Lanka was like more adaptive because Sri Lanka has been playing a series before Zimbabwe actually arrived when Tri-Nation started. But Zimbabwe team, I saw them playing the matches in the first round of Tri-Nation, and I saw them that they were struggling with the pitch conditions because it takes a little time for the team to adapt. But now I think that since they have played enough matches on this pitch of the Tri-Nation, now I think that there would be like much better pace. And again, the conditions, it's just the adaptation to with the pitch, with the conditions. Now I think that there would be a much better result.
And talking about cricket, it's also important to mention because I think it was day before yesterday we discussed PSL.
We did.
And when we talk about PSL, Lahore Qalandars and Peshawar Zalmi, now there is another extension of another 10 years because the contracts have recently been given. How excited are you about the PSL as a franchise? Because there's a lot of boom bam and a lot of music, a lot of concerts, a lot of fireworks that go on, and then there's Karachi versus Lahore. There's this rivalry between the cities themselves. Of course, positive competition in light. So how excited are you about PSL in this 10-year contract that has been extended?
I am very excited about PSL, and also that this contract is basically, a proof and a direction that the PSL is going to happen, and PSL is actually also the teams are increasing, the franchises are increasing. We're expecting some more franchises and more teams to be included in this PSL, and that the process is still going on. We are expecting some ones from Gilgit, some other ones from Faisalabad, so there are new teams which are in processes, and
new players also.
Of course, obviously. That is why PSL is very important as a domestic, tournament where new players come to
So we get to see new talent.
Get to see new.
Really excited, right? But let's circle back to today's match between Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka. We did see how Zimbabwe completely wiped Sri Lanka clean in the last match, completely dominated the field. But speaking about some interesting data that we have is that Rawalpindi's first innings average have jumped from a 159 to from 2024 to a 197 this year. Does this mean that we are going to see a tilt towards seeing batting first now?
I think that Rawalpindi Stadium has that pitch, has that ground where a balanced cricket is going to give positive result to the team. Whichever team is going to play a balanced cricket on that pitch, on that ground, that is going to have a good result. And by balanced cricket, I mean is that utilizing the batting side and the bowling side by side. Now, if you see both of the teams, Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe, both of them do require a little improvement on their batting side, but they do have a really strong, good bowling line and very nice spinners, very nice paces. So I think this pitch is actually going to favor them. If
one of them bats and puts up a really good score, then it's about the defense that is going to be put up. That is
going to happen, yes.
All right.
And that might be difficult because both of the teams have a balanced amount of players on the both sides. And talking about Sri Lanka, but I do have high expectations from Hasaranga, Kamindu Mendes, because they are extremely well spinners, they're extremely well bowlers. So I do expect to take a chance on this pitch there and this match which they're going to play today.
All right, so we know that Natalia is definitely Team Sri Lanka tonight. What do you think, Muzzammil? What team do you support tonight?
Well, I support great cricket. Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about cricket like an analyst. Now, I would want to mention something which is really, really important. And my message is to all those who are in the highest seats and are in the position where you can make decisions that will eventually impact the national team that is going to perform worldwide against. There has been a long time since we saw a fast bowler along the lines of Brett Lee or along the lines of Shoaib Akhtar. We haven't seen any wickets that are broken. We haven't seen any bats that are blown apart. That's the kind of fast bowling that we would like to see. We want to see the Abdul Razaks of Pakistan. We want to see the Saqlain Mushtaqs of Pakistan. That's the cricket that Pakistan misses. And the kind of matches that used to take place, 50 overs and you go right into the last 6 or 7 overs and the match is seemingly impossible. Abdul Razak jumps onto the field and it's all 6s and 4s and one man saves an impossible match. That's the kind of high blood pressure situation, near death case the Pakistani cricketing community loves to see. And that thrill of a cricket is what we miss. Now, talking about cricket and these terms, this gets me excited every time.
Very electrifying, Muzzammil.
So, which of the Pakistani players, I'm sorry, I'm going a little off topic, which of the Pakistani players and which of the Pakistani bowlers do you see with this vibe, this aggression?
I think Babar Azam is that one player that has that aggression and has that vibe, and I always mention him whenever I come to this show and whenever the segment starts. Whatever the topic is, Babar Azam is always mentioned.
Babar bhai fan.
Yes, because I think he has, I don't think that this should be a thought, this is a fact, that Babar Azam is one of those cricketers who have, you know, internationally made his name, who is famous because of his aggressive cricket, aggressive innings, aggressive score and runs. So, you know, we have the name.
Definitely. So
already.
we
And
have a die-hard Babar Azam fan, and we do have a die-hard cricket fan who wants electrifying, aggressive cricket to come back again, right? So make sure that we pump our players and we give them the motivation they need to bring back this energy, this charisma that we crave for.
And invest in this sport for the community of Pakistan. Now, with both of these people over here sitting, one to my left and one to my right, we've got Natalia, Baqer and Eesha Rehan. I am Muzzammil Khan, or rather, I identify today as Muzzammil Khan because she happens to be Eesha Rehan. That's all for today's episode, and catch you tomorrow. Bye.